on Trent since the 1700s, but 3 years ago, the potter's wheels almost stopped turning for good when the company went bust. They were bought out by a New York venture capitalist firm and they merged with Royal Dorton and Waterford Crystal. Well, to talk about the company's fight back is Wedgwood's Chief Financial Officer, Anthony Jones, and also from the construction sector, Julie White from the company D-Drill, which is a concrete cutting company. Welcome to you too. Anthony Jones, how hard was it to get Wedgwood back on its feet?
Well, no doubt that these are incredibly challenging times, but I'm pleased to report that both our company and our industry are fighting back. Here at Wedgwood, we're absolutely delighted that in the last 3 years, since successfully emerging from administration, we returned to profitability in our second year and we delivered sales growth in the year just ended.
And how did you do it?
We've done that really through doing two things. First, we repositioned and re-energized the brand, the Wedgwood brand, and we turned it essentially from a traditional tabletop brand into a luxury lifestyle brand in the wider home category. But as important, we've focused on improving every aspect of our business. We've done that through an operational excellence program that's essentially overhauled our supply chain and all of our business processes to build that strong foundation upon which we could grow.
Have you cut staff? Have you made it a more streamlined operation?
No, we've actually focused on business processes and that's making us more efficient. We're actually still at the same level of staff that we were at 3 years ago, and we've actually started growing staff in the last year.
Julie White, for you and the business that you're in, what is holding back growth?
With D-Drill being a specialist contractor inside the construction industry, it's infrastructure. We need the government to be pushing infrastructure. They've been talking about it for too long. We need to see something. I mean,
what sort of projects would really help
Yeah,
you?
they keep talking about HS2 and an airport in the Thames Valley, but right now we need shovel-ready sites to get going, because we can start moving the economy very quick as a construction sector like no other sector.
How difficult has it been over the last 18 months?
Oh, it's tough. It really is tough. We're in a flat market. They say we're coming out of a recession, but the construction is so flat right now. But we've been doing, we've been getting more of a market share. We've been actually striking up bigger jobs with a lot of the bigger contractors, and we've been bringing on more apprentices, so we have grown.
Right, and Julie obviously is concerned about infrastructure projects here. You're really looking at the export market though, aren't you? That's how you've managed to get Wedgwood back on its feet.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what do you want George Osborne to do in order for you to break into the UK market?
Essentially that. We need anything that will enable us as exporters to be more competitive in what is a very challenging marketplace. Whilst we also welcome the recent focus on it, it's basically stimulating large infrastructure projects, and we're delighted to secure a £5 million grant as part of the Regional Growth Fund. What we really need is a real package of fundamental measures to address the cost equation for UK manufacturing, essentially to make us more competitive. A couple of things in particular, a couple of issues that very much impact on us: energy, apprenticeships. Energy, as an energy-intensive manufacturer, we urgently need energy market reform to create that competitive framework that doesn't penalise our industry. Over 15% of our cost is represented by energy, and we've suffered 2 consecutive 20% price increases in the last 2 years.
Yes, and obviously with all those kilns out here, you need those energy costs to come down. What about for you? What is the biggest cost that you could do with George Osborne addressing? Well,
it's because I D was an SME, but we actually run a lot of fleets with vehicles, of course fuel, but that would help everybody across the board. Fuel really, and also helping us find the right funding for what we can achieve.
Now the government has said there is money across the country that you can go to your local region and get cash. Have you managed to do that?
Well, it's hard out there. I mean, they keep talking about business bank, about regional growth funding. I mean, I don't care where I get my funding from. I just need help finding it, and to know if I'm going to grow my company, employ apprentices, employ people, that there's someone out there that can help me. And it's really hard. It's a minefield.
Have you actually tried to apply for money?
Yes, and Regional Growth Fund, it was a bit of a farce, really. We actually put in for it. They said that we were too good for it. We had to put in for more money than we actually needed, which made us more of a risk, and they gave it to us.
Oh, so you applied for more and you got more?
Yes, but when we wanted the amount that we needed, they said we could do it ourselves.
Right, and what about for, which was a totally different proposition, what about finance there and cash flow?
Cash flow is also incredibly important to us. We were also successful in the last round of the Regional Growth Fund, but what's key about the Growth Fund is it leverages private sector investment with public sector money. So we're also putting a lot of investment in on our side of the equation as well. But what we really need is those fundamental measures to address the competitors in UK manufacturing.
All right, thank you very much to both of you. Andrew will be here, of course, talking to businesses throughout the day from the Staffordshire region.
Thanks, Joe. Interesting to hear the voices of industry. They're often very different from the way it seems in Westminster when politicians.
Mike Beniston, who is a pub landlord. Let's pick up first of all on the big headline figure, which was that cancellation on that 3p rise. Will it really have a radical effect on your business?
Very, very pleased about that, and I'd like to say a big thank you for some excellent lobbying from Fair Play on Fuel. Also, welcome news is the investment allowance going up to £250,000 from £25,000.
Will you take advantage of that, or will it be other companies that
Absolutely. We will take advantage, yes.
But what about the state of the construction industry generally?
That's my biggest concern. We are very heavily involved in the construction industry. My major customer operates 9 brickworks in the UK. At this moment in time, there isn't a single works producing a brick. So any improvement in house building would be very, very welcome.
Right, and there was nothing in that autumn statement that would inspire you to thinking that that's going to happen?
No.
A little bit, not much.
No.
Right. What about you? What's your biggest concern, Julie?
Well, again, it's the infrastructure. They've been talking about it. I think it's 33 billion they're talking about the infrastructure they're putting into roads, housing and schools, but nothing's happening. We need a push. We really need a push. And we need to actually get the shovel-ready, sites ready going, because it takes 6 months nearly from tender to actually get into start.
And that's the problem.
Yes.
So, of course, when the Chancellor says we're releasing this money to go towards capital investment and infrastructure, we're talking about at least another 6 months before a project could get underway.
Yeah, even from now to then, so we need some more time. The other thing is no apprentices. They didn't mention anything on apprentices. You've got Wedgwood apprentices here, companies like Deidre that put a lot of money into apprentices. Why couldn't we get an NI holiday for every apprentice we actually employed? It'd be great for small businesses, great for the young people.
Right. For you and your business, Mike, I presume the idea of what they call fiscal consolidation, more austerity basically, until 2018. What's that going to do to the spending power of your customers?
Will you give them less money? In an industry which is already depreciating on an average of about 12 pubs a week now closed. The thought that a further 5 years of less money and less money in people's pocket will
it's an extra year on top of what he'd already said, but yes, it's 5 years.
Has an adverse effect on our business, because people have not got the money in the pocket. And if they have got the money, they're keeping it and they're not spending it.
So how are you managing through these times? I mean, you know it's going to be difficult, so what can you do?
We have to diversify. From our original business, we diversify in different ways. We've already put in planning permission to open a village shop as part of a community-based project. So our original business is developing into other areas.
Right. I mean, in terms then of diversification and stuff, have you had to lay anyone off?
We've not laid anyone off, but at the minute I've got a third of my fleet doing traction only. Obviously, coming up to Christmas, you know, the food chain gets very, very busy. So we've got a third of our fleet at the minute on traction, basically delivering to supermarkets, warehouses, etc. I'm hoping in January that obviously things will pick up and we'll have them back on the bricks, if you like. But there needs to be an awful improvement in house building, and I don't understand with the amount of money that we're paying out at the moment in housing benefit that we're not building more houses for these people rather than lining the pockets of very wealthy landlords.
Right. I mean, as far as staff are concerned, you know, the Chancellor said that actually employment's been a better picture than we have originally thought. Do you agree with that, or are people doing less hours and actually doing part-time? Is that how you've managed to keep hold of people?
Well, we've diversified as a company. I've actually bought a new company and started 2 different technologies inside the concrete cutting. So we've actually grown. So we are employing, but we are very few inside the construction industry and the specialist sectors that are doing that. So it's tough.
Yes.
Really.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you very much. We'll be coming back to the Wedgwood factory in the next hour or so, but back to Andrew.
Thanks, Joko. We're joined now by Paul